Welcome to RC Australia. We're back on the Bell 206 Flywing custom build. In the last episode, we spray painted it in primer and we were chopping the tail off and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Let's have a look what we've done so far, and you can see we have rivets. And doesn't that look special? What I've done so far with this, I just used the Dremel with a very, very small drill bit. And I know it's not 100% correct because they're not protruding, but you get a way better finish on it if you have a look. And I've just, gone around with a pencil just where I think the rivets would be. You can see I've done them underneath as well. And I literally just tap the drill bit on, jut, 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 and just keep going all the way around. And it just puts a little indentation into the fiberglass. You're not going deep. And you've got reasonably good control over this because, using it like a pencil. Low speed, of course. But you can see the effect. It's great. Makes it look like they're legitimate rivets. So what we need to do now is continue all this section here. It's going to be a freaking million of them. I don't know. We'll see how many I put in. I'll probably get sick and tired of it. I know there's supposed to be a couple going along the boom. And I think probably some on these stabiliser fins here as well. But we'll draw some patterns here. I've got some images off the internet of a real bell, so I'll just try to copy it as best I can. I mean, this is the fine detail that, makes the model at the end of the day look fantastic when you add that little bit of extra detail to it. And really doesn't take too long. I mean, all these rivets I've put on here on both sides, that was about probably 15 minutes work, so probably not even that. So I just put some pencil lines first and then bang, drill them out. So let's get some masking tape on here and we'll just draw some rudimentary lines where we're going to be putting the rivets and go from there. So as you can see here, I've just used a bit of masking tape to kind of put down a grid pattern to something similar to what the panels would be. What we're going to do now is I've just gone over each quadrant with the pencil, and then we can take the tape off now, finish off drawing all the patterns, and then we can start adding the dots by hand and then drilling them out. So let's get that done. Okay guys, so we've pretty much got all the rivets done. As you can see just by looking at it, I've just added them along the sides. Obviously a lot of them are going to be covered up, but I ran them down the boom as well, and we did that little modification. It's not fantastic, but at least it gives you the idea that there's a ducting going on there. So that's done on both sides there as well. The fuel cap little section is sort of in there as well. Like I said, you could go crazy if you really wanted to add extra things. Anyway, the next thing we're going to do now is I want to just add a couple of little hinges for the doors, just a little bit more detail here, just little bits of plastic that we're going to glue on, and then we're going to get ready for paint. It's going to be a 3-stage paint job, so going to take a while, and some decals and other bits and pieces. So we'll get there. All right, let's just chop out some hinges and get them glued on. Okay, so we have added some detail, and I've just been mucking around for the last day, just putting some detailed parts on. A lot of it's just using bits of plastic that I've got lying around here and just cutting them out with a Stanley knife. You can see I've just put some hinges and, bracketry and aerials and pitot tubes and little antenna at the front, and we fixed these guys up, modified the skids, and then of course underneath we've got a whole lot of detailed work under there as well. You can see some aerials and other bobs and bits and pieces. I've just taped up the cable cutters because I'm going to keep them white. And yeah, everything else is pretty much ready to go. You can see the detail. I've got some antennas at the back there as well. Just makes it look so much better. So she's ready to get some paint on it now. We'll go and take it back into the workshop and get it sprayed up. Righto, let's get some paint on this thing. Okay, first stage is done. Now, the helicopter's not going to be all yellow. There's going to be other colours involved. Anyone guess? So we're back in from the shed, and as you can see, I've started taking the tape off the front windscreen and the side windows. Now, we've already started playing around with what the livery is going to be on this, and I've done the other side already. The back half is going to be sprayed in metallic blue, but this is the start of the front. Now, for the keen viewers, you might know, but I'm going to spin it around and you guys will be able to see. And there we go, check it out. We've got the full Red Bull decaled, and there'll be a few other little detailed bits and pieces on it, but these are just the Roban decals that you buy, the water version. So you've got to put them on without creasing them and cracking them and all that. So it takes a bit of skill to do that. But yeah, we've basically from about here back will be blue, metallic blue. I think the back half of the skid gets done too. I'll put a picture up. It's actually not a real helicopter paint job. It's off Microsoft Flight Sim. I think someone had actually come up with the concept of it, and I thought it looked really cool. So that's what we're going with. So far it's pretty accurate. We'll just wait for this side to dry, and then we can flip it around and do the other side. Okay guys, so we're going to get one of these decals on. We've got it in the water over here. Let's go and put her on. I'll just put you guys here. You can see we just got it in the same position as the other side. It needs to be just a little bit more that way, but that's okay. Now we're going to get some, just a little rag and just dab it to get all the water from underneath. Okay, so we're back in the workshop, and what we've got to do now is put on the blue metallic base coat. This is a 2K base coat, so we don't actually have to add the hardener to it, because once I've gone and put the blue on, the entire chopper is going to get a coat of clear in 2K with the hardener, so that'll go over the whole lot, seal up the decals, because remember, they're just sitting on the top here and they're easily scratched off and dinted and whatever. So we've got to be careful with those, because they are just water slide decals. So I did put the glass in the top little windows there too, just used a bit of I actually used a spare one of these windows that I had from Flywing, and it must be a thermal plastic, because with a little bit of heat from the heat gun, I was able to sort of bubbleize it, you can see there, and get it to form the area there really, really nicely. So interesting plastic. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the front windscreen on the bells have a bit of a bulbous sort of between the center section and here. They kind of bowl out a little bit. And I do have another one of these windscreens, and I might do a bit of an experiment to see whether I can create them to be a bit more bulby, bubbleizing sort of, or bubbling out a bit more. Might have to make like I don't know, we'll see. I just thought it would be cool to make them a little bit more bubbly like the real one. Anyway, what we're going to have to do now is we've got to add a little bit of blue, which I'm just going to have to do, because I don't want to go put masking tape on top of this in case the masking tape rips this off. So just by hand, I'm going to paint around here. We've got to leave a little area of yellow, and I'm just going to do this by hand with the paintbrush and just come around where all this up here is going to be blue. All in here is blue, all under here, and I think the circle, because remember this is a circle of yellow, so the circle kind of starts from here and goes down and around like that. So all this stays yellow, and all back here stays blue behind the decal. So I'll have to just go around the decal by hand. Once that dries, then I can, put some foil over the top of all this, and then just shoot the rest with the gun. So let's get it done.
A few moments later.
Okay, so we had a little bit of an issue with compatibility of paints. Now, what happened, I started to add the blue metallic straight over the top of the yellow. Now, the blue metallic is a 2K automotive paint. The yellow is just one of these things, right? So straight away, the blue immediately ate away the yellow paint, and I was like, ooh. But I knew straight away it wasn't going to work because I wanted to try and hand paint around the decal and then spray the rest of it blue. So I had to abort the mission on that. What I've done now, you can see it's actually quite shiny now. I put a 2K clear over the entire section. You can see it's nice and shiny. Over the entire section of yellow, and that's sealed everything now. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I'll let this dry a couple more days before I actually mask up the little Red Bull guy, and then I should be able to back spray the metallic blue, because now the metallic blue is going to be sitting on top of the same 2K clear material. So you can see I've done the same thing with the top canopy section here as well. So I've just gone over all that, and you can see there that was our little issue. So that's going to get covered with blue, no big deal. But yeah, just always good to test it before you start spraying, because you don't know. You don't actually know what's going to happen. So anyway, we'll leave this now for a couple of days, and then we'll come back, and then we've got the tedious task of trying to mask up and do the rest of the blue. All right. Righto, guys. So we've got the chopper back inside, and we're going to start doing the masking. Basically now we've got to mask up the logo and leave a little bit of yellow around it, and then spray the metallic blue. So it's dry. I've left it for a couple of days, so the 2-pack clear has completely gone off. I've just tested it with some tape, and this is just automotive tape I use, which is just putting strips over the entire thing. So what we're going to do, we're just going to lay some tape across the entire logo, starting up the top here, right about there. So you can see what I've done there, just literally taped it up. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to draw with a pencil where I need to cut it with the knife. And again, when we need to make a spot, I've got to think now, where is this going? Because we are spraying the blue, we want to leave a little section of yellow under it. So we've got to come away from the end of the decal. Now we need to trim off all this outside crap, leave all that on there, and then we're going to be good. Now once you're going through 2 layers of masking tape, you do need to add a little bit more pressure. I'm going to be going across the grill here, so you can see it's actually gone all the way in. That's fine. Okay, so that's pretty much that done. We'll do the other side, and I'll bring you guys back in when we are ready to paint it. Righto, painting time. Okay, so you can see here I've just put a very, very light coat on, and that's going to be our, have a bit of a look at it, and then obviously it's already, because it's automotive paint, it's already dried, so that's going to be a good coat now to put a wetter, heavier coat on now. That'll also stop it dripping if we go too heavy. But yeah, you want a really nice light mist coat to put on first, and then follow through with a heavier coat. So all I'll do now is just open up the gun a bit more to apply more paint. It's a bit of a tricky one because it's hard to hold and not snap anything, and yeah. Anyway, let's put another coat on. Okay, so I've put the clear on it. We got a bit of a weird effect happening, and I've got a feeling it's that incompatibility yellow with the clear. Like I should have just used 2-pack yellow, because you can see the tail boom here is absolutely mint, and that's just got obviously normal epoxy primer and the metallic and the clear. But you can see up here where we had the yellow under it, it's kind of created a bit of a cracked effect, which I actually like it. I'm going to leave it because I think it kind of gives it a little bit of texture, but it should dry okay. It really only sort of starts from there up, and I've got a feeling it was the yellow, so it's probably more predominant on the underneath of it here, but like I said, it kind of gives it a bit of an effect, so that's fine. Definitely not going to sand it back and redo it, but yeah, you can see the boom come out absolutely mint. We'll let that dry, give it a couple of hours, then we can get all the paper and everything off it and go from there. Okay, so while the fuselage is drying, we're going to move on to the front section here, and what we're doing with this is adding a light blue, that's the colour there, translucent light blue. We're going to actually spray the glass or the perspex from the inside just to give it a little bit more of a realistic kind of look to the glass. So I've never used this before, and I don't really like using these little mini spray cans because you don't get a lot of control over it. So I might even just spray this into a cup and then tip it into my mini gun and then spray it that way. I don't know. I'll have a bit of a practice with it first to see what sort of accuracy, because you don't want to go and put too much of it on. I only want a really light coating on it. So first off, obviously, we don't want to get blue on top of all the yellow, so we're going to have to mask all that up. I might just use some foil, actually. And then we'll have a bit of a practice on some other bits of plastic just to see what the control's like. All right, so I gave it a little bit of a go just on the bottom of this plastic container, and you can see what it does. It just gives it that very light blue tinge. Quite controllable with the can, so I don't think I'll decanter it and stick it in the spray gun. I think straight up using this is fine. You just got to not stop in the middle of your pass, otherwise you'll leave a blotchy mark. Go over the entire thing in one go. So let's give it a crack, see what happens. I've just wiped down the perspex on the inside as well, given this a really good shake for a while. It's going to be hard because trying to get in there. Let's have a go at this. I think we'll leave that as it is now, let it dry, and then we can have a look at it from the other side. Okay, now that this thing's dried, you can see it's got a really nice little blue tinge to it. Not as apparent out in the open, so that's kind of what I was going for. Yeah, that's kind of cool, like it. That'll complement the rest of it very nicely. Okay, let's move on. Okay guys, we're back from the workshop. As you can see, we've taken off all the tape and she looks gorgeous. Came up really good. Interesting that paint sort of settled down and it all those cracks kind of went away, which is good. So it might have just been a bit of a reaction, maybe too much paint on there, not sure. Anyway, you can see the tint too. That came up nice. One of the next things we're going to do now is, there's still a few more decals I want to put on it. And then we're going to start on the lighting, and you can see I've got a bunch of lighting bits and pieces here, so we'll cover that in another episode, just going over all the lighting, because there's so much different things you can do. But all in all, I think you can see this is
It's come out exactly how I wanted it. I might just paint the back part of the skids blue because that's what they look like. But apart from that, it's come up really nice. So, thanks again for stopping in, and thank you for all the new subscribers too. We're going to try to keep content going. Try and do something once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, once we start getting them flying. But we have the EC 135 to modify as well, so I hope you can come back and join us again.